What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So you're probably going to notice right off the bat that yes, I am on the Crew 2, but you know what? I had to jump back on this game. It is kind of insane that how good this game is actually thriving now after that sale, or during the sale. I had a feeling that was probably going to happen. I mean, if you have any game for $1 with this amount of content and this amount of stuff to do, it's kind of hard not to get it, especially because probably back then so many players probably didn't get it, and now they actually have a chance to play this. Now, I do have a few videos planned after this one as well, guys, so do stay tuned for those. Going over a few things I like about this game compared to the Crew 2, and also some things I missed from this game that are not in Motorfest, which, you know what, I feel like people are probably going to agree with. But there's going to be a few things I did want to talk about here. So, we all do know the Crew 2 right now is going to be incredibly popular. We all do know there's going to be a ton of players on it. You know what, let me check the summit real quick and see how many people are actually playing it. Probably not going to be a ton, but let's go see anyway and see how many people are actually doing this. So let's click on it. Now, I'm not going to lie though, I really haven't done the summits that much recently. Besides the Ford GT Interceptor unit, had to get my hands on that thing because that was one car I was missing. But looking at this right now, guys, so we're at 39,000 players are ranked. Now, you could probably look at this and go, bro, that's not that many people. Here's the thing, though. That's only on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Last time I checked on Steam, there was over 40,000 players on it, which is going to fluctuate, which we all do know every single game does. That's also probably going to be similar to the Xbox numbers. So I'm going to guess and say right now that this game has over 100,000 people on it, which I have to admit is pretty dang impressive. Also, if you guys have missed some of these cars, do not be afraid to jump into the summit. Go after the ZR1. I love the long range edition, easily one of my favorites. We're then going to have some free chemist sets and stuff like that, which a lot more players are on the game now, so this could probably be incredibly useful. That is also going to be a drift set, so I do know people were talking about it. Definitely get that one. Then after that, though, we're then going to have the Wrangler, probably a pretty weird looking vehicle. But again, though, one thing I actually wanted to talk about with this, guys, and the reason why I'm showing the summits is for one factor: the rewards in the summits. Like, check this out. We have a car there, which is going to be dope. I do know the summits in Motorfest also give you a car normally for like something in gold. We're then going to have an epic nitro as a silver reward, 200,000 followers in bronze. In the other summit, we have a yellow rooftop thing and also a full chemist set, which is going to be incredibly useful. Then you're also going to get yourself some free parts for the Lamborghini. For this one, though, you're also going to get another car, more free parts for the Bugatti, and also some free parts you guys can use for the hypercar category, and then 200,000 followers. Now, the reason why I did want to talk about this, though, guys, I do know a lot of players are getting into this game now. There is legit going to be an insane amount of stuff to do. I do know a lot of players probably want to get on, level up and stuff, and be able to do the summits, which I would definitely recommend doing. The Crew 2 summits were so dang fun, man. To this day, I still wish they would actually follow suit with the summits in this game and do something similar to Motorfest. Like, I just love how the summits are set up. Here's a quick example, guys. Looking at this summit right here, you're going to have the Force vehicle, you have a Lancer race, a mixed up race there for a no restriction alpha race, into a hypercar race, then we have a hypercar race there, street race, then we have one of the live extreme series. Now, I do know for a fact, though, when a lot of new players probably jump into this game, they're probably not going to know where to start. If you guys are wondering, the biggest thing I can recommend, though, is basically go through all of the events and just play through them like you normally would, basically like progressing through the main story of it, if you actually want to call that a story. Even though I did enjoy it, we can all agree that yes, the Crew 1 had an actual storyline, but at least in this game, though, we're going to have like all the planes and all the different classes and stuff like that. A ton of different events, which I am going to touch on that in a video in the next few days or so. So definitely stay tuned for that one. But I have to admit, guys, I feel like a lot of players getting into this game are going to be overwhelmed, but most likely in a good way. There is going to be a crazy amount of things to do. Like, one thing I actually forgot about is going to be the taxi missions, man. Like, yes, we actually have the taxis in this game, but they're going to have a use to them. One thing that kind of frustrated me with Motorfest, like, don't get me wrong, guys, I do know a lot of people are going to be like, man, like, stop hating on the game. Here's the thing, bro. Like, I like Motorfest a lot. I want it to do great. And after jumping back on the Crew 2 in the recent days, like, man, This game really was so dang good, and I can see why so many people are playing it. Is there going to be less players on Motorfest? Well, I would probably say for right now that is going to be a yes, but that is most likely going to change with the big update in November. So I would probably say a lot of players might jump onto the Crew 2, maybe farm a bit, buy a bunch of cars, and then go play Motorfest for the huge update in November. Like, I could see that happening. And that's one thing I was thinking about, man. Like, when jumping back onto this game, I forgot how much stuff there was to do in this. Like a quick example, guys, the taxi missions might seem dumb to many people, but it's going to be something to do, and it gives a big use to the taxi cars in the game. We all have the taxi cars in Motorfest, but here's the thing. What do you actually do with them? Like, it kind of bothers me with that. Having a bunch of taxi missions around would be a bit entertaining, almost like a delivery type of mission. Like, you turn this one in, you make a little bit of money and XP from it, but the cool part is you also get to drive all over the place and do more of them because they legitimately spawn everywhere. Now, turning back around though, you guys will notice when I do go back in this direction though, these little icons pop up everywhere. This is going to be a cool little thing, and yes, you can run other cars on them, not just the taxi. So I feel like players will do the events, they might have fun with them and go, wait a minute, there's going to be more stuff I can do by just driving around, man. And yes, there is legitimately going to be a lot of these everywhere. 8 miles, bro. Goodness, that's a long time. Probably not going to do the entire thing, or I might, who knows. But I just feel like people are going to jump onto this game, guys, and I really do think everybody is going to have so much fun on it. Now, I do understand that, yes, this game is not going to be perfect. Like, everyone can say the graphics look bad. The physics aren't going to be all that great. And the thing about that, though, is those are going to be very valid arguments. I mean, that's probably going to be pretty dang accurate on most of it, to where players might go, well, yeah, the physics aren't that great. I really don't like the handling model in this game. The map is going to be absolutely incredible, and I would actually say that's probably going to be one of the strongest things about the Crew 2, is going to be the map, man. Like, this map is absolutely gigantic. There are so many places to drive around, and you will actually get on this game every time you do want to drive around, and you're like, well, where do I want to go? Do I want to go to Dallas? Do I want to go to Seattle? Should we go to the Keys? Should we go visit New York? Why don't we go up to Maine? Why don't we go into like the Arizona area? Like, there is just so many places to cruise around, so many different roads. You can drive all kinds of different cars basically everywhere. There's off-roading places everywhere. Like, I could definitely see why so many people love this game and why they're probably coming back to it. And I really do think the players who haven't actually jumped on this game are really going to have such a great treat ahead of them. I have to admit something, guys. Playing the Crew 2 for a bit also made me think about something else. For some odd reason, I really do think neither Motorfest is going to get multiple map expansions, or the next map is probably going to go back to its roots, maybe like being back on this map, which I don't think that would happen. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the Crew 3 will go back to this map? I don't know. Like, that's a difficult question. The other part of it, though, is I do feel like they could go somewhere else with it. Maybe they might actually want to head all the way back to, who knows, maybe Japan or something. Maybe Europe. I feel like that's going to be a possibility. Funny thing is, I actually have a video coming out going over where I think the next game could take place. But at the same time, I really don't think they're going to be done with Motorfest just quite yet. I feel like, guys, there's going to be years and years of content on that game. So who knows, maybe we might get another island, another place you can actually fly to. I feel like that's going to be a huge possibility. And the reason for that is players want more room, players want more places to drive around. And I really do think that's going to be a huge possibility, though. For me, though, I feel like that's probably going to be a big reason why the Crew 2 is going to continue to keep thriving, and most likely keep thriving even after this game is going to go into the offline mode, which is planned to happen after the game is basically over. So maybe a couple of years from now, when like it's not going to be as connected to Motorfest, to where basically everything in this game is going to be in that one. They have all the content in that game, and they're like, okay, time to put in the offline mode into the Crew 2. And for me, though, I feel like the biggest thing about the entire offline mode, or the fact that this game is never going to end, is you will always be able to jump back onto it and do the races, also jump in and drive around this entire map, and basically mess around if you actually want to. Now, with that, I do have to admit, though, I do have one request from Ubisoft and also Ivory Tower. If you guys are watching this video, I would hope that you would definitely do this. Make it so some of the missions, like for example, let's say something like the story missions, please make it so you can actually reset them every time you do it. That way you can actually make money from them and stuff. Like, don't put vanities in them, but make it so you can actually reset them and have players have the ability to do them again. That would be so dope. Now, we do know the game is offline, so something like that would also have even more replayability on top of it, and that way players can go through, do all the races, and go through the stories again, and I feel like that would be such a dope thing to have in there. Again, guys, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. I really do truly believe the Crew 2 is not only going to keep thriving, but I think it's going to continue to stay on that path for a very long time into the future. I really do feel like even after the update in Motorfest, players will still go back to it, do stuff on here, do different summits, go after cars, maybe play it a bit, cruise around, then jump back onto Motorfest, cruise around on there. It's definitely going to be such a dope thing. I am also really happy they made the game $1. That way a lot of players could probably buy it, jump onto it, and finally experience one of the best racing games of its actual time. But why not end this video off with a question though? What are some of your favorite things about the Crew 2? This could be anything, the card list, the cars, the map, the ability to do a bunch of missions, the summits, the PvP. Do let me know what you guys think about the entire game in the comments below.